And welcome once again to another edition of the Other People Show. Where to begin? We are North Americans. Oh yeah. It's going to be a fun show tonight. I feel that in my bones. It's going to be fun. The Other People Show on 92.5 WLSD, and if you're listening to AM 1220, 11:03 on this Friday night. What's everyone into? What are you doing? I just got done listening to one of the greatest movie review shows that I think I've ever heard. It's called Real Talk. And I think you should check it out. And while you're doing that, go to Facebook, Spotify, and YouTube. Check out the Other People's Show. Like and subscribe. There's going to be some fun giveaways and a lot of fun things happening. Sometimes I've noticed, and I don't know if you all ever do this, but I go back and, believe it or not, I actually listen to the radio shows and I try to make them better. But then I go back and I listen and I'm like, there's certain words that I don't say all the way. I don't pronunciate. So when I go back, I have a tough time understanding some of the words that I say. So I'm like, I know the audience will have a tough time with some of the things that I'm saying. Are they meaningful? No. Do you need these things for a test? There will be a pop-up test. There's going to be a question in the next week's question. You have 1 week. What is the theme song that is playing now? Okay, I'll give you the theme song. It's LCD Sound System, North American Scum. But what I really want to know is this is a homage to my favorite radio show of all time. And that is why I have adopted it as my unofficial theme song to the Other People Show. If you know what that is, next week, I want you to call in next week and you can tell me. Now, it's an interesting thing. I'm not sure how many of you all have actually done radio or a podcast or are interested in broadcasting, so to speak. But quite often, when you're on the radio, you need to have things to talk about. You need to have someone to bounce things back and forth. But I don't have that. And I only have you, the audience, the listening audience. And I don't want to bring you all down tonight. I don't want to, lead you down a dark path. I really don't want to do that. But I feel that in order for me to be able to, I know like we live in a world where it's good to get your emotions out. It's good to, vent and not keep everything bottled up inside. Because that's never good for anyone, correct? That's what I've always heard. But on this Friday night at 11:06 p.m. on 92.5 WLSD, the reason I'm doing the show is because I really have no friends. Because if I had friends, why in the world would I be doing a late night show? That's not what I would be doing. I would be doing a morning show. Because people would want to talk to me. And people would care about what I had to say. They would want to know my inner thoughts, my inner emotions. They would want to know what I'm feeling and what makes me sad and what makes me happy. They would know my favorite flower and the song that pulls at my heartstrings. But no, alas, I'm sitting looking at a camera, which happens to be my phone, in a ring light that happens to hopefully make my skin look bright and youthful. And the reason I do these things, so I can try to have friends. So I can have one, just one, because I have lived this life of 18 years plus with that one friend. And I just want to reach out to all those out there tonight that you don't have a friend. You think you're one of those other people, don't you? So do I. So do I. So reach out, get on board, and maybe we can be friends. Can we really be friends? I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, that's a little bit about how I've been feeling lately. I just wanted to get that out there. I feel better. It's Friday, June 2nd, 11:09 p.m. I don't have any water because I drank it all on the last show. So I need to learn that I need two beverages, at least two beverages for each hour of the show. So tonight I do want to talk about, I came in here, everything was changed from what I originally wanted to do. So I did want to talk a little bit about friendship. And the reason being is no other reason than that always seems to be a good talking point. Some good conversation can rise up from that. Now this is more of me just kind of bouncing ideas off of multiple screens and people messaging me throughout, people emailing me. People still use email. Can you believe that? But they still email me. They DM me. They message me on StreamYard. So I do appreciate that and keep those coming as well. But I go back. This show started back in. I guess it started back in 2003, January 21st, 2003, as the Other People Show, and I started it after listening to Opie and Anthony and one of my favorite shows of all time, the Ron and Fez Show, which is probably the best radio show of all time, other than this one, of course. Just kidding, but no, not really. Well, really, I am. Well, no, not really. I digress. So I was doing the show, and I ended up doing the show with a couple of friends that I happen to work with. One of those friends I'm still very good friends with today, Jake. He's a director, and he's also a teacher, and does a lot of things in music and in film and such. Actually, he directed me in a movie that's coming out this summer, Cowboy Island, so keep a lookout for that. That will probably be hitting the film festival circuit in Florida this summer, and then will be streaming probably sometime in the fall. But that being said, a couple of those friendships that I had, I'd been looking over friendships over my life, and I was thinking, why do a lot of my friendships not last that long? Why does there seem to be a somewhat of a time limit that that I somehow inadvertently have? And it seemed to be 2 to 3 years for a lot of those. So, that being said, funny. Thank you. But yeah, I was starting to examine that, and the friendships would be like, we would go to Dollywood. Well, I don't know why I said that. We actually never went to Dollywood. We went to Pigeon Forge. We went to Splash Country, which was in its infancy at the time. And we got there was a thunderstorm, and it rained it out. There was thunder and lightning, and we could have came back that day, or we could have got a pass for the future, which we happened to do, and we never went back as a trio, as my friend TJ and Vog, VOG. That wasn't his real name. I won't give that out. But those friendships disintegrated a little bit over time, and I don't really know 100% why. Maybe we had different ways that we wanted to go in life. I was a couple years older, and I do remember at the time a couple times they had chose to play poker other than going over to Whitesburg to do the radio show. We would do the show over there every Saturday night from 11 to from what did we do? We did 11 to 1:30 a.m. the Midnight Mutants radio show. And I fashioned that name after the Midnight Caller, which was a radio show that Tom Green had in his hometown of Ottawa, Canada. I digress once again. But, it became clear near the end of the run of the show that our interests lie in different things. Because near the end of the original show, which aired for 18 months, they would often say, we all worked at the movie theater. I'm too tired to do the show. Let's not do the show. So, I would cancel the show with them. Sometimes I would go alone. And then I would find out that they have been building a poker table or playing poker, which actually at the time, and I've never said this, I don't know if I've ever said this out loud, but actually at the time, that really hurt my feelings. That, I guess I had said that, I think I'd put down, put it down what they were doing at the time, but it was mainly out of spite. But I wonder if they didn't invite me because I happened to put it down. It's hard to say. It really is hard to say. But how many friends, do you continuously have best friends or friends? I know you have friends, lifelong friends. People have, Jake and I have been friends for, 20 years, I would say. And then you have those friends that are only in your life for a small period of time. And it could be, you have an argument that you go your separate ways. It could be that you just taking two different paths in life. It could be that, one of you moved for college or a job. You might have start a family, the other person doesn't. And I know that's been a big thing in my life, that I haven't went out and I haven't started the family that a lot of my peers have done. And therefore, I kind of live on, in a way, on the fringes of society. Like I said at the start of the show, I'm doing a radio show at night instead of having friends, which makes me sad. No, I'm just kidding. That doesn't really make me sad. Nor does it really bother me. It doesn't really bother me at all, because I enjoy doing the show. But I've been looking into what makes a good friend. Is there a point where you say, all right, I like this person, but I can't be their friend because they're toxic. This person is a good motivator. I want to be around them. I like spending time with them because they're funny. We enjoy doing activities together. We go canoeing, or we grill out, or we build a chimney, whatever we do. We collect earwax, which is kind of gross, isn't it? I guess. But would you say when you become older as an adult, do you still have those best friends? Do you still have a best friend? Or are the best friends still, I have a best friend, but in reality it's the best friend that you had years ago, and now your wife or your husband or your spouse or partner is your best friend. And that's not even a bad thing. But it's, I've heard people say, my best friend is my spouse. My best friend is my partner. My best friend is this or that. What would you define that as? I mean, really, what would you define that as? because it's not the same. Just like love for one is not love for all. I could say, yes, I believe in true love 100%. Does that make it true for me? Just because I believe it doesn't make it true, I guess. Just because I believe someone is my best friend, they might not think of me as their best friend as well. Ponder on that while we listen to Queen, You're My Best Friend.
Heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend who heard it from another. You've been messing around. They say you got a boyfriend, you're out late every weekend. They're talking about you and it's bringing me down. But I know the neighborhood, and talk is cheap when the story is good, and the tales grow taller on down the line. But I'm telling you, babe, that I don't think it's true, babe. And even if it is, keep this in mind. You take it on the run, baby, if that's the way you want it, baby. Then I don't want you around. I don't believe it, not for a minute. You're under the gun, so you take it on the run. You're thinking of your white lies, you're putting on your bedroom eyes. You say you're coming home, but you won't say when. But I can feel it coming. If you leave tonight, keep running, and you need never look back again. You take it on the run, baby, if that's the way you want it, baby. Then I don't want you around.
And we are back. That was a little bit of REO Speedwagon, Take It on the Run, and Queen, You're My Best Friend. You're listening to The Other People's Show on WLSD 92.5, 1125. Talking about friendship. You're my best friend out there in Radio Land, Podcast Land. We're going to be taking some calls soon. I got a lot of fun things. We've got the Mad Lib in store, Tongue Twister, 4 random questions. I slit the sheet I slit, and on the slitted sheet I sit. Can you say that one fast? That was from the movie The Jerk. Have you ever seen the movie The Jerk with Steve Martin? It's a classic. Once when I was younger, I couldn't sleep. I was probably in 7th grade. And that movie was airing. My mother was listening in the adjacent bedroom. And I could not sleep. 2 a.m., 3 a.m. It seemed like a Jerk marathon. It played nothing but over and over and over. But I do like it now. I need these cans. The OptiGrab. The OptiGrab is the little handle that he made for the glasses when he gets sued for everything that he has. That's a very fun movie. That could be a movie we do in the future. Who knows? But yeah, I had one of my friends called me while we were going in song. And they were kind of telling me, they were like, you do have a friend. Now, his name is Maximilian. And I told him that I would not disclose his name on the show. My friend Mary Beth, Sue Ann called. And I haven't heard from her in a decade. I don't think if I've not heard from you in a decade, then they're not my friend. Mary Beth, Sue Ann, you're not my friend. I told her that too. Oh, what a night. What a day. What a week. Oh, everyone out there. I do feel good tonight. I do feel like it's going to be a good night. We've got some guests coming up soon, and that's going to be fun. So, a couple questions that people had asked while in break. Places that you never want to go. I know last week we touched upon a little bit about places that maybe you'd want to move or maybe you wouldn't want to move. Places that you would not want to go. I've been to a lot of places. You know, I've been in Mexico, New Mexico also, Canada, London, and a lot of the United States. And one place that I do not care for is I'm not a big fan of Memphis. I'm not a big fan of Memphis, Tennessee, and I've been there a couple times. I liked when Penny Hardaway played for the Memphis Tigers, or whatever he played for. I don't know if they were the Tigers. They were Memphis, though. But it's never been a place where I've felt very safe. I've always thought the buildings, for the most part, were ugly. Elvis was fine. I'm not against Elvis. I'm not against Elvis at all. And I know that Elvis's Graceland was in the 70s and such. But Graceland is a tacky place. You know, all respect to the king. You know, Elvis, I guess they call him the king. Not really LeBron. Obviously, he isn't. But Elvis Presley, I wasn't really impressed by his house. Now, the rooms that you go in and he's got all the gold records, and that's kind of impressive because back then, obviously, you didn't have all the things that you had today. You don't have the Spotify, you didn't have the YouTube, you didn't have the mass media machine. You didn't even have CDs or cassettes. You probably had 8-track. You had AM radio, which you can listen to us on 1220 on AM radio. So Elvis's time and artists back then, when they achieved gold status, 500,000, that was a huge, huge number. And Elvis, whether you knew or not, had 30 number one hits. 30 number one hits. So that's good for him. I really have to say that is good for him. But going back to places that I would never want to go, Memphis was one of those places I have been. Now, do I ever want to go back? I don't like snow. Also,
On a cold and gray Chicago morning, a poor little baby child is born in the ghetto.
now this song always I've spoke about this song a couple of times in the past incarnations of the show. This was such a weird song for me because this is an Elvis Christmas song. Adam, you're on at night. It's July 2nd. Why are you playing an Elvis in the Ghetto Christmas song? This is probably my favorite Elvis song.
He'll grow to be an angry young man someday.
Oh, Elvis.
Take a look at you and me.
You and me.
Too blind to see. Do we simply turn our heads and look the other way?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I'm pretty nice most of the time. But yeah, Mexico, when I went to Mexico, I went to Cozumel, Mexico. We went on a cruise. And one of the first things there, and it was a thrill to a young kid, I guess an older teen, almost 20, but they did have a topless deck there, and it was always kind of for some reason you were kind of embarrassed to go up there. You didn't want to be the one to go up there, but I did go up there, and it was a fun time. To this day, I'm glad that I did that. It still puts a smile on my face, just because of how nervous, and it was kind of out in public, and it was an excitement. So Mexico was a fun time. But also when I was down in Mexico, I visited the what was it? Planet Hollywood. So if you remember Planet Hollywood, it was Sylvester Stallone, Bruce Willis, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. They'd went in and made these restaurants, and they were several of them, probably 10 or 12 restaurants sprinkled throughout the country. Somewhere like in Dallas, Fort Worth. You could have one in Charlotte. You could have one in Myrtle Beach, D.C., New York, L.A., Houston, different places like that. So I went into one in Mexico, and when I was in there, and just looking around, because obviously you could go in there and look around because they had all this movie stuff there from all these different. They had stuff from Ghostbusters or Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, or I really can't remember all what they had now. It's been quite a while, but I did go there. But this waiter kept on just touching me, but he was so fast that by the time I turned around, he was already standing back at like where the host is standing, and I'm looking around thinking, is no one else seeing this guy just run up and touch me? Like quickly. He was running like 5 or 6 feet, touching me. He was almost like the Flash. He was almost like that character, but a real life character. And that was one of, that's a memory from Mexico. I had my first drink, not the first drink, but I had a Sex on the Beach drink. I went to the first time I went to the restaurant Hooters there. Now, I was disappointed in that. Now, that wasn't what it was cracked up to be in Mexico. So I will not go back to that Hooters in Mexico. Things may have changed 20-some years later. Possibly. I don't know. But that's a place that... And I don't even know why I got into that, because it's not really a place that I would not want to go again. I wouldn't want to live there, but I did have a good time there. Now, as far as places that you would want to go... I'm thinking maybe one of the Dakotas, maybe Montana. I do like New Mexico. I like the landscape out there. It feels like, I don't know, it feels nostalgic I don't know why it even feels nostalgic when I've been there, because I've never lived there. I've only traveled there a couple of times throughout my life. But I do feel that it has, a little bit of nostalgia to it for some reason. And it's a place that, I think that I would go back there. I do want to take a trip this summer, and I would like to have about a week, and I would just get in my car and just go west. Maybe drive west for 2 to 3 days, see where I am, and then come back. Obviously explore wherever it is, have some kind of a goal in mind. But if you had a couple of people with you, how far could you get? You've got 6 days. You want to get as far as you can to the other side of, as far as you can west. It can be northwest. It can be, down toward Texas. It could be in Oklahoma. It doesn't matter where it is, but you're starting where you are now. Now, if you're out west, you'd have to obviously come east. But starting where we generally are, and a lot of people listening are in Virginia. So we're going to start in Virginia, and you're going to take about 48 or 72 hours and get to where you can go. And then explore, come back. That's what I'm going to do this summer. That's what I'm going to do this summer. I'm pretty sure I'm going to try to do that. But I've got a goal in mind. It's going to be like a documentary type thing. I think I'm going to try to do. I think. We'll see. Here's Audio Slave. I Am the Highway on the Other People Show.
Birds and swine, be ready.
And that was Audio Slave, I'm the Highway, from the great Chris Cornell's vocals on WLSD 92.5 FM, The Vault. Now, I've, everyone, I want to keep this kind of light, but I've been addicted to something lately, and there's only a few things that I could say that I've been addicted to over my lifetime. Working would actually be one of the addictions that I have, as well as constantly keeping busy and not really trying to relax and do things. That is an addiction. It's also a habit that I've had, and we can always form different habits over our lifetime. Some of the habits are good, some of the habits are bad, but they can always be changed if we are willing to put forth the effort and make that change and make it happen. I say that to say that a couple times over my life, I've ventured into the cesspool that is energy drinks. Now, this is something that when I first got into radio, I'd gotten a job in D.C. at WAVA 105.1 WAVA. That was a good station, but I was working nights, and I wasn't used to working nights. I was used to being up, but I wasn't used to staying up all night long. So therefore, I got involved in these energy drinks. The AMP. I'm trying to think of a lot of the different. AMP was primarily one of the ones that I would get, and it was when Dale Jr. was still racing, and he was they were a big sponsor on his car. Now, once they were not as big of a sponsor, then it was kind of like they had changed the formula, and it wasn't as good. But the lemonade was good, the original was good, the grape. So for a while, I drank those, and I'd quit for a while, and then I never went to really the NOS was like once or twice I did that. That was too strong and too much of a heartburn aftertaste or something. I don't know. I didn't care for it. The same thing with the Monster energy drinks. But then they had come out with and I hadn't tried the energy drink in quite some time. They had come out with the orange Red Bull. I'm not sure which one it is exactly, but it's in an orange can, and it tastes delicious. And I wish that I would have never tried it. But now they have a new one out called Juneberry. Someone suggested it, a cashier suggested it a couple weeks ago. And I've been drinking one, not exactly, between the two, the Juneberry and the orange one, one a day for, the last couple weeks. And I have found out of most things that I've tried to stop that I want to stop, making myself stop would be, I never would have thought it would have been an energy drink. I mean, really, who would it have thought that? An energy drink? Now, the reason I know they're not good for you, I know, the caffeine, the calories, it can't be good on your heart. It kind of gives you that burning feeling, but I can also feel when I start not to drink it, and I become more sluggish. And I don't like that feeling. And I don't like the feeling when I drink it, because I know it's $4.04 wasted. And I'm not going to go and subject myself to buying, a case of it, because if I have a case of it, then it's there for me to drink at will. So, it's a little bit of a dilemma. I've done much better today. I didn't get one today. I don't want to get one again. I'm going to try to do better. Try not to fall into that trap and, drink it. Because really, who wants to do that? I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know. But I'm glad you're here with me tonight, and I'm glad you're my friend. I got a couple more minutes with you tonight. I'm going to play a song tonight. We're not always going to play songs on the show, but we are tonight. Chris Isaak, a lot of people know Chris Isaak from his monumental hit Wicked Game, which features the beautiful Helena Christensen in the video. David Lynch actually directed the original video for this movie, for his movie Wild at Heart, starring Nicolas Cage. So the video was reshot with Helena, the black and white video, and that's one of his most popular videos. But this song is not as popular. It's from his second album, entitled Chris Isaac, and it's called "Lie to Me." So I think you might dig it. I know that I did. I like Chris Isaac, and this is early Chris Isaac, and you can hear how young he sounds in the vocals. So this is Chris Isaac, "Lie to Me," on the Other People Show.
Each time I lie to me, lie to me, there is a woman trying hard to be brave. The way that I hurt her has made her afraid. Things that I'm doing are breaking her heart. Still she's pretending we'll never part. Lie to me, lie to me, I don't care what people may say. I know everybody lies. I'm not trying to hurt my love. I'm only trying to get by. There is a woman far over the sea, standing and waiting, praying for me. Here I lie guilty, girl by my side. Who am I hurting? Each time I lie to me, lie to me,
Chris Isaac, "Lie to Me," on 92.5 WLSD, The Vault. Just about to wrap up here on the Other People Show. It's kind of been of a little bit of a smorgasbord of a show tonight. Sorry about that. I'm going to have more organized set pieces, bits, and things tomorrow. But like I said, it was a crazy week. It seems like time just keeps passing so quickly. I mean, it keeps on slipping into the future. It really does. And it's like a non-stop. It's just non-stop. And I don't really like it. I don't like things going by as quick as they're going, because each second, I mean, the future is each second. Each second is the future. So you you can enjoy, I guess, every moment, but every moment's gone in a second. It's a very weird thing if you think about it. It really is. It really is, and it's something that I sometimes ponder. Not always, but it's been a good show tonight. I'm pretty pleased. I feel good. I'm not going to have an energy drink because I do want to sleep tonight. But in all honesty, now, even if I take one, drink one at night, I'm not really. It doesn't keep me up. My medication overrides that. It does, doesn't it? Keeps on slipping. So please check out the other people's show on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, and TikTok. Check out In Dreams on YouTube. And please like and subscribe to the channel and the Facebook page. Like I said, go back and re-listen the opening of the show. What radio show is it from? You will win a prize. Message me, direct message me, call in next week. I'll announce the winner if we have one throughout the week. It's going to be a good prize, though. I promise you that. A very good prize. Now, like I said, we're going to do not Garden State, but we're going to do Con Air on next week's Real Talk. Nicolas Cage, John Malkovich. We've got Steve Buscemi. We've got John Cusack. Also Dave Chappelle. So, it's a star-studded event. And it's an action-packed extravaganza, as I said. So please go and check out. I'm going to head out a little bit early tonight, a couple minutes. Finish out with Seal, Fly Like an Eagle, from the Space Jam soundtrack. Cover of the Steve Miller Band song of the same name. So you all have a good night. Thanks for checking out the show. Fly like an eagle, you all. Good night.